Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
How are y'all?
Very good, thank you.
All right, happy to hear. This is the regular board meeting of the Canutillo Independent School District Board of Trustees meeting. Today is October 22nd, 2019. The time is 5:36. Sonia, would you please, oh no, let me, I always mess this up. Pledge of Allegiance, and we have some Northwest Early College kids here, I know, somewhere. Can someone come up? Come on up here and lead us in the pledge.
All right.
Along with your principal.
Hey, guys.
All right, after you.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you all. Thank you. I mean, Blue Ribbon students. All right.
Item D, roll call. Ms. Brigham.
Present.
Mr. Gobernador.
Here,
Mr. Payan.
Mr. Payan is absent. He did notify us that he was not going to be attending tonight's meeting.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Present.
Mrs. Searles.
Here.
Mrs. Trout.
Present.
And Mrs. Iglesias.
Ms. Iglesias also called and notified that she would not be able to attend tonight's meeting. With that, next agenda item.
CISD vision and mission statements.
Mr. Rodriguez and Ms. Trout, would you
Yes.
give us the honor?
I'll start off with the vision. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Canutillo ISD is a premier district preparing tomorrow's best today with innovative, future-focused learning opportunities for every student.
Our mission is to create rigorous, student-centered classroom which develop future-ready students to compete in a global economy and thrive in a multicultural world.
All right, thank you. Sonia, next agenda item.
Yes, sir. Item 2, presentation. A, in support of student outcome goal 3, increasing algebra master level. Presenter, Creed.
Oh,
Good evening, board members. I'd like to open today's presentation with a little statement about our math initiatives. Algebra 1 is a class that is traditionally taken at the high school level. Only those students who have shown an exceptional math talent are being given the opportunity to take this class and complete it while enrolled in middle school. At Canutillo ISD, we would like for these to be the norm rather than the exception. We want to see our student body equally represented in those advanced courses. We want to see our special education students, our migrant students, our non-native speakers, and all of our students to have an equal access to this high quality of education. We believe in this because we are a district of opportunity, we are a district of equity, but also because we know that our students can. The partnership that Canutillo has established with CREE has opened this possibility without compromising nor the rigor or the quality of the content of Algebra 1. We have equipped our classrooms with the adequate technology, with the right curriculum, and with the right teacher. We We have Ms. Palacios, our new, recently added to the math team, Algebra 1 teacher for this new group of students that are being sponsored by CREED. Ms. Palacios, if you could please stand up. I'd like her to be recognized. Our students are excited. Our families are excited. Because while they know that they're taking on a new challenge, they are going to be well supported along the way. Gentlemen from CREED, on behalf of our families, on behalf of our student body, on behalf of the CNI department and the entire academics division, I'd like to thank you for sponsoring these children. We have no doubt that they will make you all very proud. I'd like to introduce and invite to the stage Mr. Richard Castro.
Welcome, Mr. Castro.
Thank you, and good afternoon. And as my introducer said, my name is Richard Castro, longtime supporter of education and youth programs. In 1985, I started a scholarship program and enhanced that with a national branch of that scholarship program. And since its inception in 1995 to now, there's been over $34 million awarded to young graduating high school seniors that we're very proud of. In 2014, I co-founded the organization CREED, and the focus of CREED is to work on educational attainment and focus on working with the districts to produce a lot more college-ready students. And our board is made up of business people, professionals, and community leaders. We have a couple of them here tonight that I would like to introduce. And with us is Dan Olivas. Manny Soto. And Manny's a former associate superintendent and very knowledgeable, obviously, in the education field. And our executive director for CREED is Mr. Edgar Rodriguez. So Dr. Galaviz, Mr. Chairman, board members, parents, and staff, we're delighted to be with you today, and we're delighted to be able to talk to you about enhancing education. And in working with Dr. Galaviz and the Canutillo School District, we have formed a partnership in an effort to enhance the percent of students that are college ready. I want to compliment the work that Dr. Galaviz has been doing, because he has been enhancing, he has been improving, and he has been producing some outstanding students that have been coming out of Canutillo. And he is creative and has some great ideas and is not afraid to think out of the box. And in doing so, he is having a great impact on our young people, and that's what we're all about. Our young folks are the future of our community. We see education as an economic driver. We see education as economic development, not just for the community, but for the individuals. There are studies galore that show that the higher the educational attainment, the higher the income earning potential. And of course, if we continue to work in that direction, our community cannot do anything but get better, be more successful as our educational levels continue to grow. The project that we're working with Dr. Galaviz and that we're here tonight to talk about is the mathematics for middle school students. And this was an initiative that Dr. Galaviz presented to us. We bought into it all immediately, and we look forward to continuing to work with Dr. Galaviz and the Canutillo School District. But as it was already said, and you already know, only the top students at the 8th grade level are able to participate in algebra. And what we have found out is that algebra is the gateway to colleges. That's the hardest area that students have trouble with in staying in college and graduating. So his initiative to work with 8th graders and to not only work with a few 8th graders, but to expand the program to where all students that are performing at the master's level, at the meets level, and some of the students that are at the associate's level will also have the opportunity to work with this algebra program. And of course, they will get greater support because they have a greater need in order to be successful. But his vision is to be able to expand the algebra program at middle school to where by in a few years, 100% of the 8th graders will hopefully be able to participate in the algebra program at 8th grade level. That would be a great accomplishment and a great step forward in working and having these kids come out of Canutillo High School at the college ready level and at career ready as well as life ready. And when we talk about life ready, we're talking about character development, which is one of the elements that Dr. Galdanis has emphasized because he sees that as having a value. Obviously, the more students and more students that are able to take algebra in 8th grade will then be able to work on higher math courses as they get into high school. So immediately they would be then eligible to take on Algebra 2 and some of the other math courses that you all offer. And it is without doubt that students that take the Algebra 2 course and complete it successfully are almost guaranteed to be successful at the higher level. So with that said, we want to thank you for having us today. We want to congratulate Dr. Galaviz and the board for your initiatives. We look forward to continue the association and to continue to work with you all in behalf of our students and in an effort to increase the percent of students that graduate out of the high schools at the college ready level. One side note, and which we're very proud of, a number of years ago, our college ready level of students that were coming out of high school was quite a bit below the state average, the state of Texas average. The El Paso region was quite a bit below the state average. I want you all to know, I'm sure you already know it, but for those that don't, I want you all to be aware that the El Paso region, which Canutillo High School is part of, is now leads the state as #1 in percent of students that are graduating at the college ready in algebra. I think that deserves a great big recognition. I think we have a check bigger than normal to send to you all. Dr. Galaviz said he was going to put it in his office.
Dr. Galaviz, Ms. Blas is up here.
Good. How you doing? Oh, you bet.
Mr. Judge, come up, please. Is Dr. Rico here?
Yes. Who's right in the middle? We have
Goes this way?
center out the back.
This is Dan says it.
You guys make room for me.
More? Maybe we can slide down the check just a little bit.
There you go. Number two.
So it's everything back to back. There you go. Great. Just right here, this little window, okay? Right there.
Only the skinny poses.
Here you go, you guys ready? Up here, guys, big smiles. Okay. Let's see who blinked. I won't tell you here. Could you lower your side a little bit? Just to straighten it out. Yeah, I'll get it. Here we go. Up here, guys. All right.
Everybody say happy.
Wait, one more.
One
more. Thank you.
Promise you that we're appreciate their support. Glad we were able to do it. Beth, did you Thank you again. Thank you so much. Oh, you're gonna be done? Okay. You're gonna go on the early class?
Mr. Costin and all the members of the organization that you brought with you today, thank you so much on behalf of our students.
I just wanted to address something in regards to thank you, Dr. Valdez, for bringing this. But if you look at goal 3 by June 2022, students in each grade level of 3 to 9 will increase math and algebra master level by 8%, increasing master level 0 to 8%. And so this is connected to our student outcome goals. So I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you, Dr. G.
Yes, sir. Item 3, board honors. Ms. Rodriguez.
Good evening, Board President Coronado, members of the board, Dr. Dalavis. We will now begin our monthly board recognitions. This month, on October 2nd, we celebrated National Custodial Workers Recognition Day. This is a day set aside to show appreciation to the men and women who keep our schools and workplaces across Canutillo ISD running smoothly, and we want to thank them today. Will the custodial staff from each campus please come forward when called? Bill Childress Elementary. Will the custodial staff from Canutillo Elementary School join us in the front?
What about the principal?
I'll take the picture. I'll take it. The principal.
Thank you. And if I could just ask all of the voting staff not to leave, we're gonna take a big group photo at the end.
Just wait. BCE, your principal's here. BCE, come back up.
Come back up. Yeah.
BCE, come back up.
Thank you. Next is Deanna Davenport Elementary School.
Stroback is sick.
Garcia Elementary.
The principal's here to accept the award.
Bring the principal.
The principal can accept the on their behalf.
I know they should.
Miss
Photo.
Mr. Soto was gonna come, but I don't.
Can you guys go a little? Yeah, there you go. 1, 2, 3.
And Mr. Barba for Jose Damian.
Mr. Soto, come. This it?
Like hired people.
I'm gonna cover the minutes.
Come on, principal, you're up.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Jose Alvarete Middle School. Thank you.
Thank you.
I knew you would.
Go a little more. Yeah, there you go. 1, 2, 3.
Bernardino High School.
They deserve a special award.
I'm also custodian.
Yes, yes.
I don't know why you're telling us that is part of your description.
It's a hell of a lot of work to do.
Photo, please.
Northwest.
Northwest Early College, sorry.
Do they do Central?
Tell them thank you.
Don't forget there's a mic next to me.
And also, we have two more groups after this.
Thank you, Mom.
Photos down from central office here.
Pilar?
Pilar and Letty.
I know, I saw Pilar.
And or from Lone Star. Anyone from Lone Star? Yeah, so we can just invite everyone up for a big group photo, please.
Oh, there he is.
Pilar, thank you very much for what you're doing this district. Appreciate it. All of you guys.
One, two, three. Thank you.
Thank you. Another one? Held during the third full week of October each year, National School Bus Safety Week is an active and evolving public education program. It is an excellent way for Canutillo parents, students, teachers, motorists, school bus operators, school administrators, and others interested to join forces and address the importance of school bus safety. Will all of our transportation department please come forward to be recognized?
Bruno, come accept the award. I really appreciate their work.
Thank you, Bruno. Our next item. Texas Governor Greg Abbott proclaimed October 9, 2019 as Texas Education Human Resources Day. A day set aside to recognize and honor the important contributions made by school staff who work in human resources. Our Canotio ISD human resources staff work hard each day to make sure schools are staffed with high-quality employees and that those employees have a positive work environment. Will all of our human resources department please come forward to be recognized?
Oh, Snickers. I'm sorry, it's Snickers. Snickers.
Snicker bars?
Jose Damian Elementary is preparing tomorrow's best today with a whole student approach and receiving state recognition for it. The Texas Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development announced the recipients of the 2019 Texas Whole Child School and Texas Whole Child Aspiring School Awards. The Texas Whole Child School Award Program recognizes schools implementing a culture and approach that ensures each child is healthy, safe, engaged, supported, and challenged. An honorable mention was awarded to Damian Elementary, led by Principal Jesus Barba. Join me in congratulating this innovative family.
I know you will. I expect it, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Barba. Next item. The National Hispanic Recognition Program was initiated by the College Board to identify outstanding Hispanic high school students and to share information about these academically well-prepared students with subscribing colleges and universities. Each year, the NHRP identifies approximately 7,000 of the highest scoring students from a nationwide total of 250,000 high school juniors who took the PSAT or the NMSQT and designated themselves as Hispanic. Please help me congratulating the following students. From Northwest Early College High School, Alondra Paquier.
You're amazing, honey.
Like a picture with her parents and principal?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Sisters, brothers.
Take your answer, Mom. Congratulations. Parents, your mom couldn't disown you. You can't disown your mom.
Congratulations, Alondra. And from Canondillo High School, Zaida Flores.
Keep up the good work.
And her parents join us in the front for a photo.
And the custodian from the high school. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Zaida. And also from Canondillo High School is Vianney Morales.
Yes.
Is Yana here? No? Okay. I'll make sure, yes, I'll make sure she gets it.
Tell her congratulations.
And of the 1.6 million entrants, for 50,000 with the highest PSAT selection index scores qualify for recognition in the National Merit Scholarship Program. Please help me to congratulate Garrison Wetton from Northwest Early College High School for being named the National Merit
Ready, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Congratulations so much. Oh, that's
And our last recognition. Many people in the Canondillo community deserve credit for the recent back-to-back A ratings, but our principals especially play a vital role in the district to ensure the success of Canondillo kids. This October, during National Principals Month, we say thank you to our principals who do so much. Without their resilience and tenacity in our schools, the district wouldn't be where we are today. Maria Reina Cercedo from Bill Childress Elementary. Melendez. From Miss Stroback couldn't be with us today. From Garcia Elementary, Teresa Heimer. From Jose Damian, Jesus Barba. From Reyes Elementary, Jessica Carrillo. From Jose Alderete Middle School, Dr. Oscar Rico. Canotillo Middle School, Christopher Judge. Miss Teresa Clapsaddle from Canotillo High School. And from Northwest Early College, Jessica Arellano. And then we can have a group photo, please. I
That's nice. Oh, that's a great picture. Smile, everybody.
1, 2, 3.
That's a nice picture.
Thank you.
Recognitions, thank you.
No pressure, principals, A+ this year.
All right.
I'm so glad you did. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I know it's a lot of work.
Sonia, it's agenda.
Yes, sir. Open forum. Any person wishing to address the board during the period reserved for public comment at a board meeting must sign up to be heard in accordance with District Policy BED logo. Number 1, each participant will be limited to 3 minutes to make comments to the board. Number 2, the board is not permitted to discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on the agenda for tonight's meeting. For president, we have 2 speakers, and the first speaker is Jesus Salgado Ramos. Salgado Ramos.
Mr. Ramos, welcome.
Good evening, Dr. Galaviz, Ms. Rocha, Mr. Sergio Coronado, Ms. Blanca Chowdhury. If we may approach the bench to distribute some files, please.
Absolutely.
I am Jesus Salgado, a student at Northwest Early College High School. You are now holding signatures from 109 Northwest Early College High School students, which I am speaking on behalf of today. This past Friday, our CTE teacher, Ms. Tammy Avent was released from Northwest to be relocated at the middle school. This change left us, her students, without a subject knowledgeable teacher in the middle of the semester. We are at the most critical time of the semester, and our plans have been shut down because of this. Northwest is a blue ribbon high school and an A-rating high school because of teachers like her. Ganotio ISD is a premier district because of the student outcomes that teachers like her provide. I believe that you as our district officials act in benefit of the students and believe that the education for our students is key. However, there is no education without a teacher in the classroom. Our vision statement for Ganotio ISD is, and I quote, Ganotio ISD is a premier district preparing tomorrow's best today with innovative, future-focused learning opportunities for every student. We will not be able to provide positive learning opportunities to our students taking away their teacher in the middle of the semester, the most critical time. I am asking that we work together to prepare tomorrow's best today by providing our students with the education they deserve. And all this starts by having a teacher in their classroom. I am asking for our teacher back. Northwest does not deserve this. Some of us desire to major in the business field. Ms. Avens' class is an important class for students like me who day to day seek for a glance of what the business world is. Ms. Avens' class contributes to this as well as her past experience, for which we are so lucky to be shared with. Please consider and rethink your decision. Always remember that we are building tomorrow's best today, and we must act in benefit of our students and only our students. Northwest must have their teacher back. I ask you to please consider and remember what the Honorable A.J. Cabral, TEA Commissioner, always tells us. Student outcomes don't change until adult behavior is changed. Please act upon it. Northwest needs their teacher back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our second speaker is Ms. Teresa Capsaddle.
Pat Settle.
Good evening, Board President, Board members, and Dr. Galaviz. This probably could have waited till next month, but I think that it's so exciting that we need to share some things with you now. Over the weekend, my girls cross country team advanced to regionals, and they'll be competing in Lubbock this coming weekend. 2 weeks ago, Abner Astrudillo made it to the all-region choir. He got first chair, bass 1, and he's the #1 bass singer in the city. He dethroned the state champion from last year. Our band competed at the Socorro Band Competition this Saturday, and they advanced to the second round for the first time ever in school history. They came in 4th, and our percussion was named first overall best percussion section in their Class B division. And then finally, I just want to share with you something that you already know, but I read this over the intercom today because our culture change shift that we're going to with kids is that we're champions. And what does that mean to be a champion? In KUTO, and each letter has an acronym that we go over. And I really feel that our students are buying into this philosophy, and I want to read you this message that I got through Facebook. Dear Administration, as a fellow educator, I wanted to take the time to acknowledge and give kudos to the KUTO High School Band. While on their lunch after winning their band competition this past Saturday, October 19th, the band enjoyed lunch at Cece's Pizza on Saragossa, and that is where, in my opinion, they truly shined. Not only were they well behaved, but they astonished me and my family by celebrating in their own way my 4-year-old daughter's birthday. As my small family of 10 or so sang happy birthday, the entire band surprised us by singing to her as well. Additionally, a group of students were sweet enough to give her a ball they had won from the vending machine. These small acts of kindness meant everything. After moving from Germany, my little girl has not yet had the opportunity to reach out to many friends and is still learning about her new family. Therefore, we didn't have a large gathering. My little girl is still enamored with the ball, and we are all enamored with your band. Thank you from a grateful mom. Sincerely, Amanda Stevens. And when I read it yesterday, I don't know if it was all the meds I was on, I didn't feel good. I couldn't stop crying. And I read it to our entire staff today and the school over the intercom, because even when we're not here in our district, I mean, we all know how great our kids are all the time and on our campus, but it's when they go out and they represent us and people notice that they're different from everybody else. And so I just wanted to share that with you, to thank you for your continued support for what we do at the high school, because I know sometimes I come up with some crazy ideas and you're looking at me like she's lost it. But thank you again for your support. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That takes care of, public forum.
Yes, sir.
With the board's permission and approval, requesting that we pick up the consent agenda at this time. If it's okay with the board? Hearing no dissent, Sonia?
Item number 8, consent agenda. Administration recommends approval as presented. I would like to move to approve the agenda as presented.
All right. Ms. Trout, do I hear a second? Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right. Motion and a second. Ms. You have a question?
Mr. Chair, no, I have a comment. Thank you,
Yes.
Mr. Chair. I just wanted to thank the administration for their timely response. I, didn't have a computer last week, so I apologize for the lateness of my request, and it came right away. So I just wanted to thank them.
Right.
And I echo that. Thank you.
All right. Motion and a second. Sonia?
Yes, sir. Ms. Brigham.
Yes.
Mr. Coronado.
Yes?
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mrs. Searles.
Yes.
And Mrs. Trout.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Back to Friday.
Public hearing. A public hearing regarding the Canantillo ISD's financial integrity rating system of Texas. First, the public is invited to attend and provide public comment.
Good evening, President Coronado, board members, stepped out. I'm here to present to you and hold our public hearing regarding our first rating. And I'll just go over some of the, I know you had the presentation, but I'll just go over a few of the key items in it. The purpose of the first rating is to achieve quality performance in the management of our financial resources. It rates school districts on several key items. Of those, there are 15 indicators, 5 of which are critical indicators, and it's either a yes or a no that those items were done. And if we fail any one of those, we fail the rating, the first rating completely. There's also 10 other indicators which rate us on solvency and financial competence. If we can move on to, I believe it's slide 9, is our first critical indicator. We did pass, there was 15 indicators. Indicator number 5 was not rated this year because it had to deal with pension liabilities, and it was a new pronouncement that was issued in the last year. And so that one was not rated. However, we did, we were rated on 15 other indicators. And of those 15 indicators, we do have 4 in which we can do some improvement on. The first one is the solvency indicator, which is indicator number 6. We should be in slide 15. Which is, was the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures, excluding facilities acquisition and construction. We received 6 points out of 10, and we have 65 days on hand. We should have at least 90 days, and it's something that we are definitely working towards. As we improve our fund balance, this also improves our cash reserves. So this is definitely something that we are aiming to improve our score on. The next one was indicator number 7, and this was also has to do with cash. A large portion of it has to do with cash. This was the measure of current assets to current liabilities ratio for the school district sufficient to cover short-term debt. So this also has an impact on our fund balance has an impact on this as well, and our cash reserves. And we're just a little short from getting the max points of 10 points. The third indicator, which we can have some improvement in, is indicator number 8, which was the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the school district sufficient to support long-term solvency. We are really close to obtaining those 10 points. Our bond payment that we issued this last, our pay down on our bonds has also helped to contribute to this. So we are hoping to hopefully get into that 10 range on this particular indicator. The fourth indicator, which is number 11, is our admin cost ratio. This is whether we are at the target of 10. We received 8 points. We're just a little bit over on our administrative cost ratio, which is something that we always aim and budget for. So that's one area where we can have some improvement as well.
I have a comment on that.
Yes.
Ms. Brigham, I know you were concerned on one of the items with respect to that. And the issue is that, you know how the state is now requiring us to get social workers and more in that respect. So I think what we need to do is get our Far West Texas Work Association, and that when we go to CISD next year, to make sure that we try to lobby for that, or where somebody from the region is going to the legislature during their, next time around, that we, send somebody from the region here to lobby and fight with that. That should be taken, and they're requiring it. It's a different matter.
You're right, Mr. Chair, and also too, that I know this is, it always is like a cloud hanging over, and it's not. You have to look at our population, and you have to look at where we live. And I just think the state, sometimes in their average power, forget that. So I appreciate your hard work, but I do think we need to enlighten someone. I'm not sure who it is.
And some of the, some of the percentages what they put depending on the size of the district are kind of arbitrary as well. So I think you need to look at it in terms of overall immediate necessity of, when you're running a particular small district, and try to, carve out some of those as exceptions to smaller districts. But anyways, I digress.
As we go on, we have a few slides that kind of give a little bit of comparison on our administrative cost ratio as we compare to other districts our size, as well as those in the El Paso area. And the rest of the indicators, we did receive the max points. So you can go on to this slide 29. And our overall score, we scored a 90 out of 100, which gave us an A rating, which is superior. And the last time that we had a superior rating was in fiscal year 16, which was based on financial data for 14-15. And now we will open it up to any comments from the public.
Anybody?
2012 is when, Mr. Chair, 2012 is when the actual system changed, right?
Yes, so there is.
And I don't recall from the legislation, it was, 2014 was 2012, and it changed, and now it's since 2015, this rating system, right?
Correct. It was in fiscal year 16-17 that they changed the scales as well. So that also contributed to the above standard rating. Because they increased their scales from, I believe it was 85 to 100 was a superior rating, and they increased the scales to 90 to 100.
Thank you. Thank you for all your hard work.
All right. This is a public hearing. Anybody from the public would like to comment on the presentation? All right, Ms. Brigham.
I just want to say on indicator 13, I know how hard that is. Okay. Being an ex-peace person. So, it's sometimes especially expenditures I function. So, thank you.
You know, if you look at the administrative cost ratio comparisons that you provided to us on the region, I mean, the bigger the district always, there's no problem getting the administrative cost ratio down. So it just seems to me that there's issues, the way they've just arbitrarily cut off the percentages where they cut them off. The only one I see that's really out of whack from doing really good on the small districts is Fabens, and I don't know who their leader is, but
I don't know, some renegade.
But apart from that, it's it's pretty tough to do it when you're a small district. But I think we're doing pretty good, and so is Fabens. I know who their leader is. Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Number 1, consider approval of the Ganadillo ISD's Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas.
Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve.
All right, do I hear a second? Motion and a second. Any further discussion, board? If not, Sonia?
Yes, sir. Ms. Brigham.
Yes.
Mr. Coronado.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mrs. Soros.
Yes.
And Mrs. Trout.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, with the board's consent, I would like to see if we can take up agenda item 6E. All right, Sonia.
Yes, sir. Cafe, Diamond Jubilee celebrating 60 years of excellence.
Welcome.
Good evening, esteemed board members, and thank you for the opportunity to showcase achievements at CAFE. CAFE is the Canopy Alumni Foundation for Education and was started in 2004. The foundation has been working to raise funds for scholarships that are presented to graduating seniors of Canopillo High School and Northwest Early College High School. Within our 15 years of service, the foundation has assisted 166 students and raised over $165,000. CAFE is founded on ex-alumni who have dedicated their time and efforts to give back to the community and continue the positive reflection of this community which we are all part of. CAFE, in its infancy stage, began with modest beginnings, but soon realized it needed to get bigger in order to give opportunities to more students reach their dreams of higher education. In order to maximize the efforts, Paso del Norte has assisted CAFE by providing advice, accountability, managing of funds, distributing of scholarships, and providing a 501(c)(3) designation. Since then, CAFE's steering committee has sought to increase the number of scholarships awarded, joining us next year's golf tournament taking place on April 17th, 2020 at Waterfield Golf Course. In order to celebrate the district's 60th anniversary, as well as promote CAFE's efforts, we will be celebrating this momentous event by hosting a gala in Canopillo's honor. This event will take place at Grace Gardens on December 14th. We invite the community, ex-alumni, and especially the
about $16,000 approximately.
60?
16,000. We will fund every scholarship. It was 60.
And the Jubilee, how's the cost of the Jubilee being paid for?
We are hoping to raise about $13,000. Hopefully we can have a full house, and we invite you to please join us that day.
Definitely we can help you sell tickets, whoever would like to help.
And your question,
Class of 94.
That's my year, I didn't remember.
In case that we would like to purchase some tickets, who do we need to get in contact with? Do we have any phone number or here directly to the office?
There is information, you can contact any of the CAFE members, or you can also go to the Paso del Norte Foundation website and you can purchase tickets.
Online?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Mr. President, bring the board action. Okay.
No, just to, Mr. Martinez is one of the founding members of the alumni, of CAFE rather. So thank you for all your work you've done over the years, and Jessica here is, I guess it depends from the start for you, but she's been a great contribution, a great asset to the organization. Thank you.
And once again, thank you for all you do. Congratulations on your back-to-back. Good work.
Thank you, guys. Meeting next week, next Wednesday. All right. Next item.
Are we gonna go to item, 6?
6A.
All right. This is now Board of Trustee business. 6A, discussion regarding the Lone Star Governance Student Outcome Goals 1 and 3.
Good evening, Dr. Valdez, Board President Coronado, and members of the board. On behalf of Dr. Kearney and the Curriculum and Instruction Department, we are here to present student outcome goals 1 and 3 focused on math and reading. My name is Sandra Gabriel, and I'm the Early Childhood and the Teacher Coordinator. My name is Gina Barraga, I'm the Mathematics District Curriculum Coordinator.
Hi, good evening to you all. I'm Natalie Spallone, the English Language Arts Coordinator.
All right, welcome.
So we will start our presentation with reminding everybody what our goal statements are, focused on Goal 1 and Goal 3. Goal 1 is by June 2022, students in each grade level, 3rd through 10, will improve reading mastery by 8%, increasing mastery level, the baseline from 0 to 8%. And Goal 3, by June 2022, students in each grade level, 3rd through 9th, will improve math and algebra mastery level by 8%, increasing mastery level from 0 to 8%. And so, in consistency with our last presentation focused on our writing, goal progress measures, we're beginning with early childhood, the foundational grades of kinder through 2nd grade, and literacy and math. And just to kind of give you some information on what those assessments look like, I know that we're all very familiar with STAR data, and so as we have children entering our schools at age 4, just to kind of give you a little background on what those assessment pieces look like. So in pre-K, our students are assessed with an instrument called the Circle Progress Monitoring tool, and it assesses them in literacy, math, and social emotional development. And in kindergarten, so just to kind of go back, they receive assessment in vocabulary, rapid letter naming. The math component looks at rote counting, algebraic operations. So it's very foundational, but it's building on those skills tied to the Texas Pre-K guidelines. In kindergarten, we have started using an assessment piece called the Texas Kindergarten Entry Assessment, or otherwise known as the Texas KIA. It's also on the same platform as the Circle Progress Monitoring tool, and it also assesses in math, literacy, and social emotional development. This year we're using both those two assessments in pre-K and kinder to identify our at-risk students in those lower grades, because it's an assessment that is done one-on-one. The teacher assesses each child individually, so we feel like it's a valid way to assess those very young children, as opposed to just leaving them independently working on a computer. Teachers are really able to gather valid data for that. In first grade, we use iStation and district-created assessments. We're still, so iStation is a formative assessment focused on literacy, and I'll be showing you some data regarding that. And it groups the students by tiers, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So tier 1 would be where we want all of our students to be. Tier 2 would be providing those interventions for small group, and tier 3 is that very one-on-one interventions. And then the district credit assessments, teachers have been working on those, and it's tied to also the math standards from the state. And then in second grade, we continue with iStation as well, and then we have eStar in elementary and M-Star in middle school. And that's also an assessment, the elementary Texas Assessment of Algebraic Readiness. And so we start with them in second grade to see what that would look like. And it helps to guide instructional decisions in relation to students' readiness for algebra. So that begins in second grade, and that's administered beginning, middle, and end of the year. And then this is just at the end of last year, we pulled some data just so you could see the table. This is the ISIP early reading results for May 2019, and ISIP is the iStation Indicators of Progress. And so when children, they're assessed monthly with iStation, and it focuses on those literacy components. And so when at the end of each month, there's a form of data that we can look at that groups the children, and then where we can provide interventions where needed. So this was at the end of May, and so you can see that it's color coded, and so the tier 1 would be the green, and it's by percentage. So last year we did use it for pre-K, and we have from pre-K all the way to 5th grade in the elementary schools, and you can see, we tend to track it, and I know that principals are very good about meeting with teachers and looking at that data and seeing how we're providing those interventions for those children at those young grades.
Okay, on this next slide, we are considering elementary reading STAR performance, but really with the focus on this mastery goal that we are striving toward. So on this graph that you see, or this chart you see, there is a yellow column there on the right, the 2020 target for this year, school year, with that long-term 3-year goal there with that in mind. So you see it also next to the column of how we performed within this last school year in 2019. So you see the respective campuses, BCE, grades 3, 4, 5, CES, 3, 4, 5, DDE, 3, 4, 5. And then if you turn the page, you'll also see Garcia, GS, JDE, Jose Damian, Reyes. And then what I'd like to point out is at the bottom of this particular chart, you'll see the district. Therefore, 3, 4, and 5 of reading are STAR. But again, noting the masters there. So in 2019, on 3rd grade reading, in masters, we had 33% of mastery within that 3rd grade reading assessment. We're striving again for that increase there at 35% for 2020, again with the long-term goal of the 8%, so 2 points each year. Then at the bottom again, you'll still see I'm at the bottom of that page for district grade 4 reading. This last year, 2019, we performed with 20% in the masters on the 4th grade reading. And again, our target for that master increase is 22%. And 5th grade reading, similarly, 25 last year, and we are striving for that 27% of mastery within that grade level of 5th grade reading. So, and that's our elementary, and then you can look at all the respective campuses, but I just wanted to highlight again the district. Yeah, and if you turn the page, oh, I'm sorry, turn the slide, there you go, and we have some math data.
So throughout this presentation, we will have the same format for reading as for math. And so similarly to what Ms. Baloney presented for math, we have Bill Childress, followed by Canfield Elementary and the Anna Davenport. We have the district column towards the very end, And so if we turn the page, we have the other three elementary schools. We have Garcia Elementary, Jose Damian, and Reyes Elementary. I'd like to point out our district goals for mastery. We were at 31% for third grade math. Our target, being increasing 2 percentage points, will be 33 for this coming school year. We are progress monitoring that we are attaining that, so we expect no hidden surprises. We are tracking the third grade team, working with them, meeting individually with teachers, with classrooms. This is a grade level that requires some of our attention, and so far we are getting pretty good quantitative data as well as qualitative observational data when walking into the classrooms. Fourth grade math at mastery last year we were at 22%. Our target for this coming April would be to increase by 2 percentage points at 24. And then finally, fifth grade math, 35%, which was a very high percentage for the region of El Paso. And so for this 2020 school year, we are targeting at 37%.
In response to all of that data you just took in, what we are working towards, clicking and talking, this information, the response for elementary, we've worked on responding by not only our own personal time with individual teachers and students and PLCs and admin, but also working on the professional development growth. So this school year we did have a whole district campus, our guided reading instruction, 3 days, comprehensive of the best practices of guided reading, which is small group reading instruction, very differentiated instruction where the teacher will have a group of no more than 5 or 6 students individually working through their level of reading and then working through that. And then the equipment that goes with it are also those level book rooms that you all recall the purchase, the district purchase this last year. And so that is a response to this, again, working to move with that small group instruction, which we will then see the gains within that reading growth.
Response efforts in mathematics, we have offered professional development to all of our K through 5th grade teachers. Pearson is our adoption and our main resource for math, and so we have brought Pearson towards the beginning of the school year to work with our mathematics teachers, showing them all the resources that we have at hand. We have followed up at the beginning of every unit to ensure that they know how to make best use of the resources that they have, offering professional development, both pedagogy and content, before they go into teaching the lesson. This is differentiated depending on whether we have a veteran teacher or we have a new teacher that we're working with. As far as equipping classrooms, we wanted to change in many ways the classroom discourse in which math is being instructed. And so in order to bring small group instruction, we have invested our time and monies into purchasing math centers so that mathematics instruction as well as learning is more of an enjoyable task, something that our students are looking forward to, especially more so in the elementary grade levels. We want to make sure that we continue to captivate that interest that our students naturally bring into the math classroom.
Also go on to some secondary data here. We have middle school reading on this next slide. Again, highlighted in yellow is a 2020 target. You'll see the 2 respective campuses, grades 6, 7, and 8. And at the bottom of that chart, you'll see district. Last year, 2019, for mastery, we performed at 14%. We're striving for that 16. You'll see that right next to it in yellow. 24% mastery, 7th grade reading, and striving towards 26, and then 28% mastery in 8th grade reading, and working towards the 30% in growth for mastery. Then the next slide is math.
I'm very excited to present this second chart to you for mathematics at middle school. I'd like to go ahead and highlight 2 specific points. Of course, we have our mastery performances last year, and then the yellow column is the one that's targeted. I'd like us to take a look at Algebra 1. They have them labeled Algebra 1, those 3 rows. At Jose Alderete, mastery last year was at 92%.
This is not approaches, this is not meets, that for this particular population, and this talks back to the whole initiative that we have going on with pre. Those students are 100%, not a single one of them is not passing. Meeting is not a challenge for them. 92% were passing last year, and 94% is our target. I am sure that we will accomplish that. This group of students are very talented and enjoy mathematics. At Canutillo Middle School, same thing, 100% were approaching, 100% were meeting, 88% of them were mastering, and our target would be 90% for this coming school year. Looking at district data, 90% mastered our goal for the district last year, and we're looking at a goal of 92%. It is fabulous, it is fantastic, and so looking at this data, we thought that we owe it to our students. They are, passing the state exam is not sufficiently challenging for them. And so taking Algebra 1 in the middle school will only allow them to have the opportunity, because that's only what time allows. It will allow them with the opportunity of enrolling into Calculus 1, which is not a possibility for them in senior year. If they don't take their algebra prerequisite on middle school, they would be out of time before they could afford that opportunity. These group of students, it has been well established that they will have 4 times more chances to graduate from high school on time, to be admitted into college, to actually persist while in college, and to actually graduate with a university diploma within the first 4 years, and possibly graduate in a STEM-related field. So the opportunities that these whole initiative will afford to our students, it's just going to completely change our life trajectory, and we're very excited about that.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Brigham.
First of all, congratulations. Okay, sorry.
Don't want to use my principal voice. Okay. So, first of all, I want the board to realize that these kids with the 94 and the 90%, that they also had to pass the 8th grade test. So here they have to pass the 8th grade test, and that means that, you know, it just kind of climbed to them by osmosis, just making it easy. I mean, these kids not only had to pass the 8th grade assessment, but they're passing algebra. So it's like a double kudos. I just want to make sure everybody knows that. So it's just amazing what's happening, because I know that it used to scare the dickens out of me as a principal to say, you want them to give me Algebra 1? What about the testing that I'm being held accountable for? So, thank you.
I'd like to just interject, Ms. Brigham. The district has made the decision about 3 or 4 years ago that we would not put our kids to double testing. And so now they're doing algebra solely. We're not making them take algebra and then go back and cover those. They're covering those TEKS in 7th grade. So I just want to let you know, we don't think it's fair that our 8th graders would have to double test to raise up or inflate our 8th grade scores. They're learning those TEKS in 7th grade, and then taking algebra and taking the POC in algebra.
Amazing. And so I'd like to comment a little bit further on that. I am very proud that we don't do that practice in our district, because it would easily inflate our 8th grade scores.
Absolutely.
Those are absolutely students that would have no problem mastering that 8th grade score. So our 8th grade efforts, the numbers that we have are real numbers.
That's right.
And so whatever we do in the best interest of our students, and that is just what's in the best interest for them. And it makes me feel proud that I'm in a district where we are not trying to inflate scores, we are trying to do just what is right for the students.
Thank you.
Equally important in high school ELAR, we have English 1 and English 2, and I will say by far definitely one of the most, or 2 of the most challenging EOCs that we are challenged with in the state. We have worked hard to continue to grow within this assessment, but just that I'll note that there are, in this test, it's not only half of it is actually reading assessment, so 3 categories of reading, and then 3 reporting categories of writing. So we have editing, revising, plus an essay written for the English 1 and 2 comprehensive assessments. The other thing I will note is we have new standards that were adopted this year for language arts for K through 8. And they very much are leading us to a balanced literacy model, which will actually, I'd like to say this assessment that you see here, that sometimes when we see numbers like, 50 and 60, it just, in comparison to other contests, it sometimes feels like in some ways it's low, but it is not. It's a very challenging test, and because you're reading and writing and it's being scored by all of these test graders. But what's going on now is we will now see in language arts writing being folded into the upcoming assessments in language arts. It won't just be solely reading 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. You're going to start seeing writing also embedded to it. So this EOC is probably in some ways going to teach us a lot about that new design that's heading our way. So as I report out, again, you'll see the targets for 2020 in yellow. You can see the respective high schools for English 1 and English 2 of how we fared with our mastery last year. So last year in English 1 at 10% mastery for English 1, and we're striving towards that 12 for that 2-point increase, or 2% I should say. English 2, 5%, and striving towards that 7%. We are waiting for formal release of the assessments from TEA so that we can again analyze also, just speaking to English 2, what exactly that essay, it's a persuasive piece that was challenging for the students last year. So, yeah.
For the high school math, high school algebra 1, last year, Canadillo High School was at 42%. Our target for this coming school year is at 44%. The early college high school was at 64%. Our target for this coming school year would be 66% by two additional percentage points, and our district stands at 46%. For this coming April, we're striving for 48%.
Again, in response to this data for secondary, again, we roll up our sleeves and get out there into the classrooms as well as coordinate professional development. For language arts this year, we brought in Tap and Think Reading. These are actually the Writing Academy gurus that we've seen so many great things with this tactile brain-based instructional strategies. And these are the same trainers that we brought in to also really help us blend that learning with the language arts. So the Tap and Think Reading instructions, 2 days, 6th grade through 7th, or 6th through 12th grade secondary teachers having really rich reading instruction, which is not always the case. Sometimes in secondary, we're very, very strong in our content and our love of all things literature, but sometimes close reading, scaffolding, and all of those inferencing author's purpose is very, very necessary for our students to understand how to read like a writer, and so to speak. So we have day 2 coming up on November 1st of Tap and Think Reading training for, again, grades teachers, ELAR 6 through 12, and then with that they become equipped with reading activities and games that are very brain-based and tactile for learning that is collaborative.
Similarly, for secondary math, we brought professional development, just like we did for elementary, where we brought their publishers back to train them on all the resources that we have at their disposal. We did the same thing for secondary. McGraw, who came at the beginning of the school year for all the high school math content area, and we have Optimism Hardcore with the Go Math adoption that we have for the middle school. We have fully equipped classrooms with the latest inspired Texas Instruments calculators, and with that comes the need for some professional development so that our teachers are well equipped in knowing how to best deliver the use of graphic calculators so that our students don't become solely dependent on relying on the computations that a calculator can afford, but so that they can have that decision making on when it's best to use your head and when it's best to resource to the calculator.
I'm going to interject real quick. You can see the other slides are how we're, then I'll just go into entertaining questions. I know there's other data comparing us to the region.
I just want to Go ahead, Ms.
Thank you, sir. I wanna, I think it's, sorry, to the board, the professional development of that tap and think reading. As an ex-secondary teacher, I didn't know jack about reading. Nobody thought I could teach it. And so I applaud this because what was happening is we were getting stagnant with kids. If they were at grade level, by the time they got to high school, they never got to grade level. As a matter of fact, they lost ground. And as a principal, when I saw that, the reading academies, I jumped on it because, oh my God, it was just, but this, especially in secondary, we come in with our expertise in our field. And, it was a great idea to teach vocabulary. Silly me. So I want to thank you because that this is, I think this is going to make such an improvement in our reading scores. And it's not going to happen overnight, but I think it is, and I think this is something that we could all just cheer on. Thank you again.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Just going in regards to, if you go to goal one, I think in regards to what we're looking at, we know that especially reading early on at grade 3, not waiting for the end, reading helps change the trajectory of many of our kids' lives. So making sure that that is master level is something that's critical to the district. And I like the overall growth that we're seeing. Over the years, we realized that we just not focus on high stakes testing and we focus on educating the child as a whole. And so we've been able to do that successfully, and I want to thank you all for that. As we continue to see the growth, and we know that we're doing the right thing in regards to educating the child.
Anybody else?
Awesome job.
I'm agree. I like your approach to organize things. Can't stress to you what, I'm not educated, but the reading component, I can't stress to you how much I want you guys to really focus on. Without that, a lot of these other goals we're seeking are going to go down the tubes. It's just incredible. You can, kids can in math still do the work, but still got to do reading and math. Just not getting around it.
It's a reading puzzle.
That's what I couldn't figure. How they do so well on, because those math tests, you have to read them all.
Yes, some of it you do have to read. Obviously, those problems that are just, you're put as problems to work out the math, right? The analytics of it requires a lot of reading.
Oh, yeah.
So,
It's a reading puzzle.
anyways, I wish we could do something similar with an organization like Creed to get us into reading.
Oh.
Working on it.
Okay.
Alright, I spoke. Right. Leader. Thank you. So, thank you all very much.
May I say, you just said you weren't an educator, but through this process, I've been educated. So I appreciate the Lone Star governance and having us also just look at everything. We're always planning and tactical in our approaches, but also to take the time to be here this evening with you, it also helps us grow. So that
you know what, this is the part of LSG, of Lone Star governance, that I like. That we're actually taking the time to look at this, not just with, tell us at the end of the year, oh God, my group, what happened? And we actually have a little more in-depth focus on it and some attack at how we need to do better. So, hearing that makes me feel good.
With that said, I do have the talk about it.
Yeah, okay. That's good too. So,
Thank you very much.
thank you guys, thank you ladies. Alright. Next agenda item.
Yes, sir. Report regarding the Q conference held in Miami, Florida. Mr. Coronado and Mr. Rodriguez.
Okay. Mary's not here, but, Rodriguez, you wanna go first, or you want me to go?
So real quick, I think Cube in regards to a lot of stuff, sort of hits home on some of the stuff when we talk about equity and, mirror, I guess curriculum that mirrors our students, and so that's something that I wanted to bring up. But I did, attend also, Steve Carvalho, not Steve. Mr. Carvalho, which is the superintendent of Miami-Dade, had a, economic, equity, Miami's journey to creating and sustaining a successful, diverse, inclusive business program. And, I'll provide that information to, Dr. Eloise. But the other one that I did see was one goal, one focus, which was from Garland ISD. Superintendent currently there, Rick Lopez, pretty much talked about how the district was able to actually do some significant changes in regards to the restructuring of the district, and now they're starting to see that growth part of it. And the last one that I wanted to mention was Dr. Dr. Cesar Chavez was one of the keynote speakers, and he talked about, I guess, a lot of, in regards to our curriculum currently, we don't see a lot of the stuff that mirrors in regards to our students of color, and to figure out ways that we can embed that within our curriculum to actually see that. And one of the books that he mentioned is Lies My Teacher Told Me. I don't know if you all have looked at this book. Everything your American history textbooks got wrong. So there's some stuff where we could probably embed within our curriculum that mirrors, shows that to some of our kids that we are part of the history of America.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You know what you just said about history? Did they talk about any of Texas? Because
yeah, well, Texas is,
so many.
Well, Texas, I actually sat with McGraw one time, and we talked about this because we were asking them to actually, and the issue is that they're not willing to address it. So, I mean, it's just, especially, well, if you look at our state board of education.
No, but I was just wondering, because we're such a big consumer.
Yeah, but a lot of it is
Silly me.
driven by our state board of education.
All right, I'm sorry.
No problem. That's it.
Yeah, you know, this is the first time that I've attended the full CUBE conference. Mr. Rodriguez and I guess it must have been over 10 years ago, that we crashed the CUBE conference because we thought we were going to the Eagle Center, and we entered into the CUBE conference, and right away we noticed that it wasn't a Eagle Center. But I'll tell you what, I was very impressed from the very beginning that I first we stayed for the entire session that morning, and then went on to the legal seminar. But a lot of the things that, and I've always felt that, okay, CUBE, urban school districts, right? And urban education, that I thought that's got nothing to do with us, Castillo, right? But, we really talked a lot about the same things that we face and that this community faces, that the state faces. And just to, one of the first sessions that I went to was on equity, and there was a presentation by Georgia and the state school, and I don't know if everybody's familiar with the problems that Georgia's had, quite a bit of issues.
Yeah.
And they're, we think we have some issues here in our state, but they were a mess, but they're on the right road back. And so that was an enlightening session to hear about where they were at and how they're attacking it. And they talk a lot about, in terms of equity, what is equity, and I just took some notes on what what is it that we're trying to do when we talk about equity? And I know we discussed this partly when we were doing the LSG, doing our goals, okay? For the LSG is, and we talked about doing equity, that Mr. Rodriguez brought that up. How do we do it? And putting some of the, I guess, constraints in to the administration in terms of, well, you gotta do it in an equitable manner. Well, what does equity mean? We really didn't go a little further deep to that, but thanks to administration, they've done a little work on that. And so, what we really need to be thinking, it kind of opened my eyes, is it, what is it that we're talking about when we're talking about equity for our kids? Is it equity that we just increase their graduation rates? Is it equity that we just increase their, decrease school suspension and make it equitable for everybody? Is it student achievement only? Or resource allocation? What is it that we're trying to do? Is that gonna solve it? Not necessarily, right? So we need to focus is that, we need to be providing, for example, and this is just, one of these extreme examples that my economics professor always told me, take things into their extremes. And for example, is equity, should equity be, what is it that the child needs that the other doesn't? And not necessarily resources in some cases. Our special ed kids, they need more attention. That requires more money, obviously, and we're not able to do it. And part of the problem we're not able to do it is why. But it's not just the state that's failed us, but here it's the federal government that's failed us quite a bit. I mean, even at the CUBE conference, I went to some of the other, I picked up some of the materials of what's coming up in next year. In DC again, we're tackling the issue, the National School Boards Association is tackling the same issue that still after 1 year that we went and lobbied Congress, okay? We still haven't gotten over that 16%. The House passed it. People that we talked to in the House passed the resolution, they passed the bills that went to the Senate, increasing funding for IDEA, special ed, kids with disabilities, right? Still hasn't happened. That's still going to be the focus of the next equity symposium and obviously the lobbying effort on behalf of NSBA in DC again. Yeah, and we still have to do it. Over 25 years that the government's committed to doing that, but providing 40 to 50% of it, and we still only at 16%. And so we went and lobbied. One branch of, or one half of one branch of the government was receptive to it, and the Senate just has not done anything about it. Anyways, I digress, but so what we need to consider, is we need to focus on those issues of equity, and I think that what those constraints have put upon us is actually to focus on, for being equitable within our district to those of our schools that require more attention. So we need to have that in terms of when we look at equity, and I know you all have taken that into consideration when we are going to do the budget for next year. So, Armando, I know you wanted it to be Cesar Chavez, but it's Dr. Cruz. Cesar Cruz.
What a name to have to live up to.
Okay.
That's all right.
I don't want to take up more time. I have a ton of notes on some of the other sessions, but let me tell you one thing about what Dr. Cruz did. I think that we need to. You have convocation next year? No, right? I wish it would be next year. I think we need to bring, or maybe let's see if we can fit it in the budget. I would like to bring the issue of, some speakers for equity for, maybe the region can help to do this. But I'm telling you, I think our teachers need to hear from Dr. Cruz, our administration, our entire Duke community needs to hear from Dr. Cruz. And the other individual that we need to hear from, and we can do this as a whole day seminar that can be put on about these individuals that can come talk to us, including one of the board president from Fort Worth ISD. That's Mr. Jacinto, Dr. soon to be Jacinto Ramos, yeah. We call him Cinto, but these individuals have taken to heart the equity issue. Just to let you know, Dr. Cruz has some very enlightening things to say. I don't want to, and in fact, I'm not going to talk a lot about what he said because I want everybody here to experience that firsthand. But just to let you know, one of the things he's talked about is how growing up in California, he was, his family was always from there, even though, the border changed over. It didn't, they didn't cross the border changed over in California. But talks about how at one point how California tried to get rid of Spanish and they say this is English only, but they tried to do that. I was not aware of that, and I'm kind of a little bit of a history buff. The Constitution of the State of California, nobody knows, a lot of people don't know, is written in Spanish to this day. Okay? So how are you going to read the Constitution if you're going to speak English only? Just food for thought as how things get put out of whack. Okay?
Well, if it exists, written in Spanish in the state of California.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. And the Treaty of Hidalgo had with the United States government said, every individual who is in, now in the United States will have the same privileges as any citizen of the United States. That's in the treaty. And yet we deported millions of those that were Mexican citizens and all of a sudden became U.S. citizens, and we deported them against the very treaty that we signed, not giving them those rights. So, anyways, I'm not going to go into, there's a lot of things that we need to hear about, but it's not just that. He teaches a lot. He does teach a lot about, like Rodriguez pointed out, about education in terms of, and not the history of the equity issues, but really about a lot of education, and points out a lot of books that we all should read. We're in education, and teaches us about what is the diversity. Just for example, the diversity in children's books. That had never really been an issue, but it should be, right?
And it's hard to find.
It's hard to find.
Let me tell you, as a principal, it was very hard to find good books in both languages.
Yeah.
And I know it was, I have a sister that was a bilingual educator in El Paso High. And she would be on the lookout for it. And it is not so easy to find.
It's not very easy.
So anything that looks at that is, what was his,
He put the data, they've actually.
What does he do for a living?
He had the first Spanish gotten a doctorate from Harvard in, hold on.
Okay, I'm just curious,
He's most recently serving as the Dean of Secondary Programs at Harvard and Northern University.
Okay, that's what I was just curious where he was. Okay, thank you.
To me, that's the least of the important work he's doing.
No, but I needed to see, his name and but the only thing is, the thing is, it is important because it's still, especially at a university like Harvard or any of the top tier, you're breaking the ceiling when you're bringing it to those universities. So I disagree a little because I think it's important.
I think that's very important what he's doing, but when you find out what else he's doing in California, I know, and that's why I wanted to come here and talk to you about it. He has really made inroads into developing education in terms of opening up to gangs in California, okay? And you will be amazed at what he has done and accomplished. That's what I'm saying, that his work in Harvard is amazing, at least of what his accomplishments are. I don't know, but we will certainly get administration to find out for us and see if we can bring him here. Along with Mr. Ramos, there's a couple other people that I think we could surely fit in and have a day-long, seminar. And invite the region-wide and maybe, but if we can't afford it, then it'll be just for us. All right. Anyways, there's Mr. Rodriguez did point out, I'm taking a lot of time, but Mr. Rodriguez did point out about Garland ISD's session that I attended. I have here a book for you, Dr. G. But I thought when I first went to the session, I thought, okay, it's just another LSG, deal, right? It's Rick Lopez from Isleta. He used to be in Isleta.
I know, I was just, never mind.
Yeah, it's Rick Lopez, who we interviewed at one time.
Yes, I remember.
But I'll tell you what, they've done a great job. And I thought, okay, I'm going to this session because one of the sessions, the speaker didn't show up, so I said, okay, I'll go to this one. And it looked like, it's too much like LSG, I've already did, but no, there's really more to it than that.
No, he is.
So I commend that you, I don't know, we've talked to them, but they've got a little bit different focus, and they're not part of LSG, is that right? So it doesn't mean that we have to, but you know what, it's good that we can get, some input from different things, right? And they've decided, from what I see, pretty much to do it on their own, but they've got their own little differences to it. Yeah. And so what I say is, we don't have to be that strict in terms of other people have done it, but it is good to focus on that, and that gives us some kind of guide. Okay, we can always, add our own things to this, but I would recommend that you take a look, and I've got some notes that I will give you, Dr. G, about their presentation, and you and I can meet about that. Anyways, I don't want to take up any more time. I have like 6 other sessions I wanted to talk to, but I don't want to take up more time. Okay, next agenda item.
Yes, sir. Updates regarding the United States International Boundary Water Commission Upper Valley Grand Citizens Forum meeting on 10/9/2019. Ms. Rapp.
Thank you. Good evening, board. We had a board meeting on October the 10th in Las Cruces City Hall. We talked about some remarks with the Commissioner Jane Harkins and International Boundary Water Commission. And we also talked about the native and non-native fish on the Rio Grande River. This class was given by the biologists of New Mexico and game fish. Also, we talked about the sediment removal projects that we're gonna have here in the region. So I'm gonna start a little bit talking about the fish that we had in the river. So the Rio Grande begins in the south central Colorado in the United States and flows of the Gulf of Mexico. And passing through the length of New Mexico a long way forms part of the Mexico-United States border. The Rio Grande watershed covers 182,200 square miles or 472,000 square kilometers. The historic fish assemblage, like you can see in the slides that it was provided to you, we used to have these fishes, and they used to live in the Rio Grande so many years ago, which were the American eel, the blue catfish, the blue sucker,
the flat-headed catfish, the Rio Grande silvery minnow, and this one, the particular things in this fishes that unfortunately they don't live here anymore. The American eel, the maximum recorded age was 43 years. In Asia, is considered a delicacy. Most of the eels harvested along the Atlantic coast and are exported overseas. The common length is 19 inches and the weight is 16.6 tons. The bluesucker is another fish that has a lot of market, unfortunately, but the status reports that bluesucker is an endangered species. The International Union of Conservation of the Nature Resources put it in the red list, this fish, because they report the decline in it disappears that has been caused by pollution in the river. Their habitat is fresh water. The long-nosed garfish, they have been present in North America for about 100 million years. There are reference of being a primitive group of bony fish because they have retained somewhat primitive features. This habitat is also freshwater, in the freshwater lake. We have a modern fish assemblage, and this one's unfortunately, like I said, no longer in this Rio Grande, which is the American eel, the bluesucker, long-nosed deer, the Rio Grande silvery minnow, and shovel-nosed sturgeon. We could still find in this river the white carp and the long-mouthed deer. We have three main habitats along the natural river flow. The pool habitat, them are located next to the river. Triple round the habitats that we have it, and they form it around the river. If you see it in the slides, it goes like a curve. That's where they harvest, and they live over there, and they remain over there because it's a little bit more deeper. So they have more water, and they survive the bad weather or when it's very, very hot season. This is the picture that we could see it in the bottom. And on the next slide, we could see the Rio Grande totally dry. So the Elephant View in Caballo Dam is dry because there is no water flow from the river, and that's why it reduced the water. So the complex habitat, we could see here, the pools can provide refugee habitat during drought to the resident fish population. When flows and restored, the fish can be moved around the river and they could swim freely. In areas of the Rio Grande, they retain water all year long, which is in Hatch, New Mexico to Caballo Dam. The fish persist all year long and they have enough of water, otherwise, well, they die, unfortunately. And the next one, we have what we could find in these waters. We have the white bass, channel catfish, largemouth bass, and freshwater drum. We could still fishing at the Rio Grande, and practically the license covers the whole year. The cost for the license is $25 to $35 per year. And this one is issued by April the 1st to the next year on March the 31st. However, most of the fish that persist in the lower Rio Grande are not native of this Rio Grande. So this one, they were brought by people who came here, and they brought certain species, and they then reproduced themselves. But unfortunately, the ones that we used to have native from here, they no longer exist anymore. Our Rio Grande here is in this winter, it goes low as 40 degrees temperature Fahrenheit. In summer, it's warm as at 90 degrees. So it is important to know our life, right? So fishes that we have here, what we don't have any longer because of the pollution, because of a lot of situations that has been going on. Also, we have the sediment removal. I'm going to talk about this item very fast. This is the year that we had one of the largest sediment removal per year. Usually we have 788 cubic yards of removal. Now we have removal of 1,188,000 cubic yards. Also, at no cost sediment, could be deposited on private properties with agreements in place. The sediment is available for pickup by public with agreement and insurance. The public, if they would like to have some sediment, they need to bring a license in order to load it and put it in their trucks or transportation units. The license is not a license, it's insurance. It's an insurance. And I will provide the phone number where they can tell you which one. The sediment enriches the soil with nutrients and is usually better for farming. Where much sediment is deposited are the most fertile agricultural areas. Also good in dairy farms, stables, and raising farms animals. And we could have it for free. So you can even call, they could go and deposit to your property, or if you'd rather to go and get some more, because they deliver a certain amount and then you can go and get the amount that you decide to put it in your property. This year we have 5 contracts awarded and combined for $5,346,653. This one is allocated for removal of this sediment. So this one we have in Sierra County. We have the allocation of $1,276,653 for Tipton Arroyo, Trujillo Arroyo, Montoya Arroyo, Holguín Arroyo, Tierra Blanca, Prince Chile Arroyo. All the people who live around this area, they will benefit to go and pick up sediment as well. $50,000 is allocated for Doña Ana County North. Doña Ana County North is estimated excavation quantity of 100,000 cubic yards. Hatch Siphon, Salem Bridge to Highway 187 and Rincon Siphon. For Doña Ana County Middle, we have $1,222,000 allocated for removal of this sediment. And this one is, they're going to remove 268,000 cubic yards in Rincon Arroyo, Hercy Arroyo, Rock Canyon, and to Rincon, and Mesilla Bridge to Mesilla Dam. For Doña Ana, El Paso counties, we have allocation of $1,248,000, and this one will remove 244,000 cubic yards. And this one will benefit East Drain of Benton Bridge, Cantillo area is included, Country Club Bridge, Sunland Park Bridge, and Montoya Bridge. Also, we have for Husted County allocation of $1,550,000, and they're going to remove 400,000 cubic yards. This one will benefit McClintock Arroyo to Little Box Canyon. In our open forum, we had some concerns from the public. They reported that the river in Husted is overflowing. So we need to work a lot. We were thinking about if one of the sediments, we could put it on the side and start to help the farmers over there, because unfortunately all the water comes to their living animals, whatever they have all their lives. Unfortunately, they're struggling with this. And for the next board agenda, we suggested that to the International Boundary Water Commission that may be contemplating the idea and possible opinions about to build a river walk. And this one is because I've been pushing a lot for that, to be honest. Might be located between the Black Bridge. Do you know where's the Black Bridge? Here by Summer Park? Do they call it Puente Negro? Okay, right over there by Summer Park. All that area that is located in the United States.
That's one of the nicest areas actually of all.
Yes, exactly. So it would be nice for.
Yeah.
No, I mean the water will stay there, just to build restaurants and I don't know, some things along the river, kind of the river walk. And also I put in the agenda possible remedy for this overflow river in Husted County. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Any questions?
Oh, really?
Yes. Oh, I just want to report and provide the phone number in case that someone hears, so you can put it in the recording. Someone is interested to pick up some sediment as well. It's 915-888-8255. sorry, 575-532-2100. This is in Las Cruces.
Okay, 575?
575-532-2100. Or also contact Ms. Rosie Montes. She is the operations manager of the Upper Rio Grande Field Office. So they didn't provide the phone number here, but in their 575, they will provide you that phone number.
Okay.
Oh, I have it by the way here. This is in El Paso. 915-351-1030.
Okay.
Again, 915-351-1030. Thank you.
All right, thank you for reading that into the record.
Yes, sir.
All right, questions? Okay, next agenda item?
Yes, sir. Item D, discussion and possible action regarding reappointment at El Paso Central Appraisal District Board of Directors.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Rodriguez?
I have some questions in regards to this.
Yes.
Ms. Rose, I see you're seeking reappointment. And what districts have you already gone to? Or the town?
Oh, what entities?
Yes,
I've
one
been
entity.
to two of.
And you found their endorsement?
Yes.
So the question that I have here is in regards to Mr. Blanco and Mr. The last time that this happened, it actually didn't come to the board. And so, what I would like to see is to ask for people that would want to apply for it, from the other governmental entities, and so I would like to ask a letter sent to them. And then also talking about the history that we had voted upon last time, to actually send to those members what happened 2 years ago, where it didn't come to the board and it was slippage, and, some of those issues. If you go back to the board meeting, you're able to look at those. So,
Okay, I understand that.
Did you have questions?
yes, so 2 years ago when this happened, we asked for you to, with the district, to come up with a letter, to CAD because, there was no removal process, or if something happened, to go look at either the bylaws or state laws in regards to all the research that you had done.
Well, we did. We checked with CAP, and they confirmed that it is the majority of the 4 entities.
Right.
Appoint any individual that qualifies for it.
So the question here.
There's not an option. I think the question that was asked was if the board, being Canutio, had not nominated Ms. Earls, if she could still hold the position. The answer was yes.
And so the question was, what if, what's the removal process?
There's not one.
And that's what we were asked to write a letter to state the facts of what happened in this case and explain what happened, and then ask is it state law that we have to go and ask for, or is it just bylaw changes to the CAD?
The CAD board is governed by the CAD's own bylaws, and they operate that. In their response letter to us, they said that they followed their bylaws, and Ms. Earls was appropriate.
Yes, if you go back to this, what I would like to do is go back to that and write that letter that was supposed to be written then to the members of CAD and to the governing districts as to what happened, and then pretty much explain that we hadn't approved this as well.
Well, the board did ask for us to send a letter, and I drafted it, and we did, and we got a response. And it specifically said that Ms. Earls was properly elected by the other entities. There's not a requirement.
After that, there was guidance for you to go back and write a letter.
I've talked about that, and I can't find anything where I was asked by the board in a vote to say.
Do you recall?
Find a way to remove a board member. I don't
No,
know.
what it was to go back and explain what happened, because we believe that, Ms. Earls did not come to the board to ask for us to vote on that.
That's not my position.
No, but,
I think she has to, Mr. Rodriguez.
the letter was,
That was not
the
my
letter was to
decision.
show what actually
I'll
happened.
give you a chance in a minute, Mr. Rose.
The letter was to show what actually happened to these individuals, and that should have been sent then to show what type of character that was.
I don't recall that specifically. What we did, and we did write it, was a request to the CAD board asking for their rules regarding appointments. It was
This was
reported back to us that it could have been an appointment from Anthony, it could have been an appointment from Vinton, it could have been an appointment from, the city of Anthony. Any of those three other entities can appoint a person. The question I think that was raised was, does the entity from which that member comes, in this case, Mr. Rose coming from NTO, have to be the entity?
No, we know that. I'm not. What it was, after we got all the factual information, we asked you to draft a letter to go back and explain what actually happened. Because we felt that Kat and the people that elected her should know what actually happened. And that was voted on, and that needs to be looked at. What I'm gonna ask for this is to ask for input from other districts and explain that same process to those districts of what happened.
The nomination process is the same. I don't recall, you and I have talked about this before, individually. I don't recall any directive to me to write a follow-up letter explaining.
Well, what I'm asking is to research on that part and then see if we could do that, because there is minutes and there was discussion on it, and it was 2 years ago. What I'm gonna ask for us to motion is to ask what districts have already approved you or what entities?
I'm not gonna answer your questions.
Okay, then what we need to do is send a letter to all
You're
entities.
maligning me,
No.
you're bullying me
No.
again. We went through this at the
This-
last meeting.
This is,
And what's on this
Right,
agenda item, sir?
Just a
Yes, sir.
second, just a second. Okay, Mr. Rodriguez, this item is not about discussing that.
No.
This is only about,
The appointment.
regarding appointment or reappointment.
so in regards to that, we already have a member that has gone to 2 entities to ask for support. They need a total of 3. And what we wanted, we have an ability to appoint somebody, but yet those other governing entities does not know what's going on here.
Well, that's up to them to.
Well, and that's why I'm saying.
You are once again maligning me,
Can I
sir.
finish?
It's wrong.
What I'm asking is for us to write a letter to the other governmental entities, asking if they're interested in participating and would be like to be nominated
Participating in,
as an appointment officer to the CAC.
well, that's their prerogative. We need to do that. We can always, I mean, it's kind of a little late to do that now. But I think what,
But the
Mr.
other governmental
Coronado, should we
entities should
not
be
be
aware of
entertaining a
what's
motion
going on.
well, then.
to approve someone?
My motion will be to ask for, the other governmental entities that participate within it, if they are open to, be appointed to represent
That's
this,
correct.
this region. That's my,
Okay.
Then that motion can be done?
that's my motion.
Give me a second. Ms. Earls was next.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Ms.
You know,
Earls.
Mr. Rodriguez, I think that A, that's corruption, and B, it's malice. You are being, I'm about to. You have done nothing but malign me for the past 2 years. I've sat here and patiently taken it. And, you know, sir, it's wrong. My silence in taking your bad behavior is very wrong. And it's wrong that you would, all of the talk about LSG, adults, where adults are, is where your behavior is gonna change to how children are gonna behave. If you're trying to be a role model to our children right now, you're doing a very poor job, sir. And I very much, I sure don't like it. I hate to see that coming out of a board member and a person who would like to be reelected or leader in the community. I think that's a problem. And I've done a very good job on the CAT. You went through this, you raked me over the coals the last time. And what we have on our agenda is very cut and dry. Reappoint someone, pick someone else, do as you please, but let's not pervert what's going on here in the process. because of your own dislikes and likes. That's really wrong. And very bad behavior.
All right, Ms. Brigham?
Yes.
She did mention some stuff.
Ms. Brigham's got the floor. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I thought we were better than this. I was upset when I saw it on the agenda, sir. But you know what? Custody. And I now withdraw I will not go to LSG. If this is what that LSG training, I want to do.
This isn't about LSG.
But but what I'm saying is, sir, it should be about, when Mr. AJ talked to me, he was talking about, professionalism and trying to, and I took his, what he said to heart, and to work together. When I saw this, I was so disappointed, because I know Mr. Blanco, I'm sorry, I couldn't get your last name out. I know Mr. Blanco used him, I remember reading this when he went through it. And I see your point of view then, and I felt we went through that process. To rehash such a horrible time in our history, it's just, I think, there's no benefit to it, Mr. Chair. And to send out a letter to other people that know well how to appoint somebody from CAD, and then we go to above and say, oh, in case you don't understand how the process works, let us tell you how the process works. We're circumventing it, and we're acting like, to think that that's gonna come on our letterhead, I think that's embarrassing. And, because I think what you would, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Mr. Chair, the entities know what is expected of them. And I feel it is not our job to police everyone else. And it's not our job to bring our dirty laundry out to everybody else. And that's what I spoke to AJ about. I said, I'm really gonna try. And when I saw this, it was so disheartening, because I made a personal commitment to try to be better. And this is just more of the same, and it's embarrassing as an elected official. So I don't know how to word the, what do you call it, emotion to this. I just think we should let the other entities handle it.
Well, don't necessarily think we need a motion.
Oh, okay, thank you. It's done already by Mr.
Rodriguez.
I do want to touch on some issues because the hypocrisy in this board.
Okay.
And
Guys, I really don't want to.
That's not what
No,
this is
no,
about.
this-
There should be a motion to
In
approve
regards to,
someone.
some people easily forget going to other board meetings, talking bad about me. And so now they wanna, change the discussion and the discourse when what happened 2 years ago was that, and you wanna talk about transparency and corruption, was that this didn't come to the board and it was easily gone through the other districts to actually get the 3 votes. And that person being on this board did not come to this board to ask for an endorsement. So all we're asking here is to ask the other governmental entities within, if you see on this, we get 1 member to be jointly selected and appointed by a majority vote at the governing bodies of the Anthony Independent School District, the City of Anthony, the Gunnville Independent School District, and the Village of Vinton. Those individuals, we have the opportunity to ask them if they know of anybody that would like to be appointed to this board. The past history and what has happened, I think we have that right to ask these entities if there's anybody else, and that's all I'm asking.
And I think we have that right to ask them, that's fine, but I
Is
think
this
it's
only
something
for
that they-
community or board members?
For community as well?
Yeah. It could be a community member, so.
I think we need to give them the opportunity.
Because I was thinking of appointing Dr. Helby. Yeah, he's an employee.
Well, then you appoint him
Oh,
as
you
a
can.
Canyon
I have
TO.
a form, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
And so, I think we need to write a letter to the other governmental entities asking, it's just a basic ask, sending this and asking them if they are interested.
I'm not
I
gonna
think we
take
need to
it.
give them.
This is really painful again, and I'm not gonna take it. So,
That's, well, my motion.
oh, if Ms. Brigham leaves also, we don't have a forum. And I.
Well, if you take that upon yourselves to do that, that's fine, but we
It's
still have
very ugly
business,
behavior,
we still have
sir.
business to conduct.
Well, then let's move the other business up.
Move it up.
No, that was my motion. Yes.
Then I second.
What is your motion?
To ask for the, other entities that, or know of anybody that's willing to.
What is the
accept
deadline?
Applications.
What is the deadline?
January 1st.
Okay, so that, I mean, that, at first, it has to be before the next board meeting. And we can do that.
Yes, ma'am, 7:59 is previously in the meeting, and Mrs.
We
Searles.
don't want to be discussing other issues about it. You have your motion, you second it? Okay. You know what, for the record, both Ms. Brigham and Ms. Searles have left the meeting. We do not have a forum now. This meeting is adjourned.
Yes, it is 7.
Board President, before you adjourn, I would like to add something to, I mean, I would like to have a voice here.
We can't have a meeting, council.
The community needs to know about this.
Well, that's fine, but we
What
can't
was
do
the
that.
country
We
report?
can't do that right now. We cannot proceed to discuss anything. We do not have a forum of the board, and we cannot, we can't really, do any business, so.
Can we call a special board meeting